Hi, welcome to Manitoulin Cooks. I'm your host, Tammy Albers. I'm standing beside a very dear friend, Ted Smith, also known as Farmer Ted. And today we're at his mom's. How are you? And he's going to show us one aspect of the many things he does as a local producer, and it's the whole yummy maple syrup thing. So.
Yeah, at this time of year, there's not a lot going on the farm with the temperatures. It's still freezing in the greenhouses, so we're running maple syrup the old-fashioned way. We hang buckets on trees, we hand drill the holes, and we cook it down over an open, smoky fire. We're just getting ready to pull some off today. It's been a strange season. The weather's changing, and the trees aren't as cooperative as they used to be, but we got a little bit
So the
to go.
sap has run and stopped and run and stopped and run and stopped.
Mostly stopped.
Mostly stopped.
This has been a very poor season.
Now I have a question about the sap. Do you freeze any of it before you boil it down? Do you save any of the sap for winter tea?
No.
Okay, because it's great medicine, man.
Yeah, there's a lot of nutrients in it. Actually, University out in Thunder Bay did an interesting study on the nutrient profile in maple sap, and it's fascinating, really.
It is. It's hugely nutritious. And Joseph Pitawanakwit roasts the dandelion roots and turns it into a coffee that he mixes with the maple sap. And I went and had my second cup, and I was heading for the third, and he said, No, you'll never leave the facility because this is a good cleanse.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So show us some of this. Show us what we're looking at, what we're doing.
Okay. Well, this system's very archaic, rustic, whatever word you choose to use. It's been in place for about 30 years now. We could have a big modern shed and do it all the newfangled way, but it just feels good to get out here and get your hands dirty and do it the old-fashioned way.
Yeah.
So, basically, I'll just throw this on, and now we've just got a very light fire going right now because we just wanted to warm the syrup up enough to draw it off through the filter. We'll get huge fire going in there. Usually that's full and it's ripping, and the fire just goes across the bottom of this evaporator pan, and the syrup just boils and boils. We keep adding sap to it, and it boils. It gets thicker and thicker, and after about 3 to 4 days, it's thick enough to draw off, and then we take it into the house. Got a little more controlled environment in there. We can finish on a wood stove.
Oh, lovely.
Because out here, obviously, with the soot from the smoke does get into the syrup.
You need to filter it through,
Yeah, but the nice thing is that soot actually adds some of the flavor. Like part of the terroir to our kind of syrup is this open, smoky fire that flavors it.
I love the smokiness of open syrup. So, Miriam, did you do maple syrup before Ted got into this as well on your own?
Yeah, before he moved to the island, my husband and I were doing it, but just for ourselves.
Right.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
I can remember when I was about a 6-year-old kid, she used to make me go out in the morning before school with the buckets and collect the sap. I mean, our family's been doing it that long. So.
Wow. So you're very earthy. Like you said, you were up in Gogama fighting fires and doing the radio stuff. So you've always been sort of an outdoorsy person.
That's right.
Lovely.
The deeper into the bush, the better.
I love it. Well, I can see where you get some of your wonderful traits from. If people don't know, Ted has a book out with gardening tips, and where can you buy it now?
It's out of print now. It was a privately published thing, and the gentleman who took care of the publishing, he's no longer doing that. So it was kind of a one-off. One day, maybe another one.
I think I have it. It's been very helpful. And this year when I do my veggies, we'll be talking.
All right.
Because I don't have a lot of successful veggie growing.
Well, and then I would throw in here a little shameless plug, if I might. If you go on the Facebook on Farmer Ted's, it's constant garden questions, and there's a real give and take in there, and there's a lot of really intelligent people in there that can help just about anybody with anything in the garden. I know,
including you.
I get in occasionally.
No, you're good. You're good. So can we look in this?
Yeah. I mean, it's not that hot, so you can kind of see that, this is still a little on the thin side. And for people that aren't really familiar with maple syrup, it will always be thinner than Aunt Jemima's. Like you finish maple syrup at 219 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
A true maple syrup should be a little thin.
Yes.
If you get a thick, syrupy maple syrup, somebody's put sugar in it.
Yes. Yeah.
Now you can boil this down and make it a little thicker. And we try to get it as thick as we can, but it'll never be like an Aunt Jemima.
And who wants that?
Some people do.
They would put honey or molasses on it if they want something really thick, or Lyle's golden syrup, which is hard to find in Canada. This is so pretty.
Yeah, so what we'll be doing today is once I draw this off, then this pan has to be scrubbed because we've still got barrels full of sap to go in, so we'll have one more boil down.
Wow.
It'll take about 3 days probably. We'll get all of that through, and then we're done for the year, and then it's a whole day of cleaning because everything's got to be scrubbed and bleached, and this I
Right.
take to work. We put the pressure washer to it.
Yes, those are fantastic. How is your filtration system? Is this how you start, or is this what you do?
Okay, so there's a lot to the filtering, obviously,
Right.
because being in the open air like this, when we collect the sap, we coarse filter it to start
Right.
with before everything goes into the fire. Then we pull it off. We do a quick filter. This is a very fine poured filter. It's intended for maple syrup. It gets a lot of the coarse stuff out of here. But then we take it into the house. We clarify, which when the sap is boiling like crazy on the wood stove, we dump egg whites in and stir it, and it adheres to a lot of
yes,
the stuff.
yeah.
We take that out. Then we run it through 4 more filters. Like
Wow.
we filter this right down to the nth degree just to make sure. And even at the end, there's
clean.
still a fine layer of sediment on the bottom. I will always pack syrup in a clear glass jar so that people can hold
can
it up
see the
and
product,
see.
yeah.
I don't trust syrup in opaque plastic. I get that
Or
it's
the
cheaper.
cans, or
Yeah, but I want someone to see that yes, there is some sediment, and I can explain this is why. But at least you know what you're getting.
Well, it's like a good wine. There's
Yeah.
always sediment.
Exactly.
Yes, very good. So you're going to take us for a bit of a jaunt.
Yeah, we'll head out in the bush now. We're going to pull the spiles. The season's done, but I'll
Okay.
show you, the trees and the buckets and how we do it.
And because we're girls, we won't be doing that for long, because we seem to get cold quickly.
It's Canada.
It's Canada. We're wussy. Mighty oak. So that's the early sprouting.
Love it.
That's beautiful.
What's really neat is you'll see where oak trees grow. They often grow with multiple stumps out of
Yes.
the ground. It's because squirrels will bury a whole bunch of these and then forget where they left them, and they'll germinate.
That's why squirrels gather so many nuts. They forget where they put them. And chipmunks.
I'm more like a squirrel than I realized.
That tree's actually running right now.
What?
Yeah. Well, it did freeze last night, so that's what you need to trigger it to get going.
That stuff's so good. Do you ever just heat it up and make a tea?
No, I just drink it right out of the bucket.
Yeah.
It's incredible that
It
way.
is wonderful.
But yeah, so we've got 100 acres of maple forest, and we just every year we pick a different section of road. So every year we're doing different trees. So
So they have time to restore themselves.
yeah, like you can see right here. So there's a spile mark from probably 5-7 years ago.
Here's one.
And it's healed over nicely.
Yeah.
So this tree won't be done for another year or two now. We'll give it time to rest and recover. And then the other thing we do is we all heat with wood and everything, so we judiciously harvest, like for example, there's a maple tree, you can see the cracks in the bark. It's got
Yeah.
a fungal disease.
Yeah.
A tree like that we'll take out so it doesn't spread the diseases to the other trees.
Excellent.
So, you can
So
manage
everything's
your forest as well.
ethically done and not abusing the land and the
Yeah.
and the wildlife.
Well, part of my background is fish and wildlife technology. Like I
Yeah.
went to school for that and worked for years in fish and wildlife.
Really?
And, yeah, so you get a little bit of a background in how the world works, and
And you want to save it. as much
you
as
want to work with it. It's
Yeah.
a lot easier if you can work with Mother Nature.
Yeah, well, she's the boss.
She'll win every time.
Always, yeah. Wow. So pulling squirrels means taking these out.
Yeah, so what we do, like this is just rainwater, so on, and
That's it?
so I've got to take about 400 of these back, and then we set up a big tub of hot water, bleach them, everything's washed, dried, put away for the winter.
So are we going to pull some on camera, or a couple of them, or
You're welcome to try one.
is it hard?
You might find it a little snugger than it looked when I did it.
Yeah, because you're strong man. And this is what you're used to.
See, I should actually be dumping these buckets and collecting sap, but we're done. We're just done. So let the trees have their sap.
Because it feeds the trees and the earth and the root
Yeah.
systems. And
This sap is basically, yeah, this is all the leaves. This is what's going to cause all the leaves to open up.
well, and it wasn't until you and Paul Solanke and Heather Thomas started talking about the whole communication under the soil between all living, growing things, and I always found that quite fascinating. So am
Back
I
and forth.
dumping that really?
Yep. Yeah, it's just rainwater and a little bit of sap, but it's mostly rain.
Okay.
And then the spile, you just sort of give it a little side-to-side wiggle and pull. There you go.
Oh, I almost landed on my butt. So do we stack these?
You're hired.
Okay. This is
So
fun.
we'll wait to do this. So the rest of it, like with the tractor, it's a lot easier because
Boom, boom.
it's a lot of work. Yeah.
And just you and your mom do this.
She'll drive the tractor, and I'll just run bucket to bucket and load up the trailer, and then
So cool.
yeah,
You are very blessed.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
good to have somebody like that who teaches you how to get going in the world right.
This is beautiful back here. So do you get wild leeks?
Yeah, this bush doesn't have many wild leeks. We've planted a few patches, but they take forever.
Yeah, they do.
I put them here and there though, and it's more just for the leeks to get going. I don't really care if I ever harvest them, but it's just I like them to grow. So
Me
I
too.
plant them.
And we're hoping to do some foraging videos to show people how to ethically do that and not damage the whole group.
Yeah.
Do you-
Yeah, there's those, and there's the fiddleheads, and then of course the
You have
mushrooms.
fiddleheads?
Not on this property. I grow them actually in my yard.
Oh,
You're obsessed with fiddleheads.
I love fiddleheads. They're one of my favoriteest things. If I had my last meal, if I was like on death row, it would have salmon and fiddleheads and sweet potatoes and strawberry shortcake. That would be my dinner.
It's good
And
variety.
spinach, maybe.
Wait,
I know.
what? Spinach?
I know. I love spinach.
Oh, you're weird.
I love green things.
I'm not sure if it's hot enough to. There we come.
Wow.
So you can see, you actually saw some of the black particulate come through. Some of the stuff off the bottom. That's why we filter it.
So Ted, can maple syrup mold?
I've seen it mold. There's a natural preservative, but it can go if you don't refrigerate it once the bottles are open.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, you've got a bottle really hot, so they seal.
I was going to say, do the boiling water bath and.
Yeah, we don't do that. The maple syrup is hotter actually than jams and jellies when you bottle them.
Okay, so it just seals itself.
Yeah.
Is it cool?
Like the bottles, we put the bottles in hot water and bleach and make sure they're clean, of course. But yeah, we don't worry about a hot water bath afterwards because you're not going to improve on what maple syrup already is, the temperature.
And people wonder about bleach. Just to put in there, bleach is the only thing that evaporates and does not leave toxins. So you can bleach your kitchen counters, you can bleach your dishes, as long as it's mixed with some hot water. But bleach will evaporate. If you're on septic, you don't want to be using a lot of bleach.
No, I'd never run it down my septic system.
No, I would never.
But I bleach my well every spring because, I'm in the farm, and so my well in the spring you get water that runs in.
You don't know what it's been touched by. Yeah.
So I shock the daylights out of it.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah. That is so beautiful. So this is from trees. Have you tried birch? Have you done birch?
I've tried it. I'm not a fan of the flavor of birch. I can see why it's used more as a cooking syrup rather than a treat. The other thing is that maple syrup, for every 40 to 45 liters of sap, you get 1 liter of syrup. Birch is about 180 to 200 to 1.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I love the sound.
Now you can also make syrup out of like walnut and all the different nut trees, and there's a lot of them that you'll have to shift gears if the maples are on their way out up here.
Right. Oh, that's good to know. Agave syrup. Agave is more well-traveled than I will ever be. Switch to maple syrup. If it's local, it is already nutrient dense in what our body needs, and to get something shipped from Caribbean island is kind of silly when you can do the local, which has more health benefits.
And agave was initially put forward as this low glycemic index sweetener. It's really not.
It's not. It's got a very high glycemic index. And actually, local maple syrup and unpasteurized honeys hardly have any effect on a local person's glycemic index. And my son and I both have a teaspoon of local unpasteurized honey every morning come spring when the allergy season hits in. And if I forget to do that, there's a huge difference. So, and it's better for your body than allergy pills.
Yes. Yeah. Local unpasteurized honey is probably the best anti-allergen there is.
Yeah. It's medicine. Everything we grow is either medicine or don't touch it or eat it. Really, there's no in between.
We'll do the fall mushroom foraging. We'll get into the don't touch it and eat it.
Okay. Well, and the other thing is that some things can be cooked to become edible. Yeah. Or there's certain berries that are edible but don't touch the leaves. And
look at elderberry. You know, it's poisonous if you eat it raw, but cooked, it's wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's make juniper berries.
Okay,
when
the
they're
gin?
Yes, and they're great seasoning in wild game stews and what. But a lot of people don't realize that not a black juniper berry, like fully ripened, can be very toxic. Yeah. This is fascinating. I could sit and watch maple syrup drip for hours, which probably isn't good for a TV show. I'll probably get it in my hair soon. And if I put my finger there, it would probably burn.
No, it's not that hot because we just had a light fire, so you can get a nice taste from it.
Oh my goodness gracious.
And that's not even cooked down yet.
Oh.
You know, it's really nice when you get the fire just rolling with the maple syrup like this. You throw a few eggs in and hard boil them. And then when you take them out, you take the shells off, put them in a bowl and mash them with a little butter. You just pour some of the maple syrup and some cracked pepper.
Sweet mother of
That'd
God.
be so
That is one of the
good.
best dishes on earth.
Oh, it's like the
so
pickled beets and the boiled eggs. Where the beets, the eggs, and the, never mind.
Son,
Right
you
there.
can see there's just a very fine layer of sediment on the bottom. No matter how much we filter, we'll never get that out.
So is that partly ash or partly just what's in the sap when it's pulled?
Well, some of the minerals, like calcium, for example, we're on a very calciferous soil here.
Yeah.
It'll go into solution, and then when it cools
It
down, it'll come out of
settles.
solution and drops. And they call that sugar sand. It can be
Yeah.
a little coarse. From the looks of this
That'd
in
be
here,
delicious.
it actually is not palatable.
No, okay.
But this in here, what you see is mostly just the soot because it's so fine that no matter
Oh,
how
it
much we
is,
filter,
yeah.
we can't get it out. But for the color and flavor, I don't care.
It's beautifully
But-
clear.
Here, this is the last batch. We'll crack this one. You want to have a sip?
Damn Skippy.
And you could put a little shot of rum in there and make it even better. But
That'd be great. Sweet baby Jesus. Thank you, my friend.
very welcome.
So this is step one of the many visits with Ted Smith. So this is the syrup at his mom Miriam's place. Down the road, Ted has his farm and the goats. And apparently in the fall, we're going to forage for some wild edible mushrooms as opposed to don't touch those, you'll hallucinate mushrooms.
now, the most important thing with mushroom hunting, I'll just say this now, is always learn the poisonous ones first.
Yeah, that makes
There are
sense.
very, very few dangerous mushrooms here. There's 3 that'll just kill you outright that
Yeah.
I can name off the top of my head on Manitoulin. Know those
That's
cold.
kind of smart.
Yeah,
Are there hallucinogenic mushrooms on Manitoulin Island?
there are, yeah.
But you've never tried them.
I actually don't dabble in those.
No, they're not. They're not safe.
It's just something I don't play with. But
No,
depending on what you like, they're there.
true. And death metal with unicorns, I think, is really handy.
I picked the right shirt, didn't I?
Really
love
did.
it.
I love it. Thanks for joining us on Manitoulin Cooks once again, and please like and subscribe on our YouTube channel.
Perfect.
Bye, folks. See you next time.